Back in the present, Chapter 7. It was Saturday. It was the day for a Hell in a Cell match. And we're live here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and today is going to be a big event for our superstars, Monty said. For the listeners at home, you can listen in on z103.com and any of the streaming services. There was a massive steel structure around the ring. Steel beams and chain-link fences made up the walls. The cell also had a mesh material covering it from top to bottom. Unlike the cage, the cell was closed. All the wrestlers were backstage getting their gear on. Out in the ring, the fans waited, cheering for their favorite wrestlers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show started. How about we check in with our superstars? The Rev was talking with Ray Parker and Vindicator. My brothers, are you ready for the day? Yeah, we are, Ray replied. Vindicator nodded. We will go to the top, whatever it takes, do you understand? My faithful followers, hear this. You are my brothers and disciples, so go out there and spread my great name through the WWE universe. Yeah, woo. Spartan was with the warden. You ready for this? He didn't let him answer. I've been waiting for this moment, amigo. Esta noche es mi noche. Yeah, why is that? Spartan pulled out a leopard print toga. He pulled on boots that were the same color as well. He picked up a leopard print jacket along with the shield and spear. I don't know how I feel about the Rev and his followers, the warden said. We could make our own group, right? Spartan asked. It depends who wants to join. I heard that the Mad Artist, Iron Maiden, and some Flower Girl formed a team of some sort. Yeah, what do you think? We could be a team? Spartan asked. I don't know. Something tells me you have been holding back. Spartan laughed. Me? I didn't get a chance to really do anything. Well then, the warden said, I want you to show me in the cell. Put it all out there. That's if someone doesn't pick me first, Spartan said as Phoenix and Mankind came in. Hello, Spartan? Mankind smiled. She had a glow about her. Oh, hi, Mankind, Phoenix. He turned to face them. I heard about the Rev and his creation of the Disciples of the Brotherhood. The warden shook his head disapprovingly. What do you think about us forming a team? Spartan asked. A team? Mankind leaned in. It would be interesting. What do you have in mind? Well, Phoenix cut in. I've got this idea. We could form the Order of the Phoenix. The event was about to start. Just then, a woman with shoulder-length brown hair and a long, flowy dress swung over the heads of the crowd. As she went, she would drop purple petals. She left a trail of petals behind her as she landed in the center of the ring. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Hell in a Cell. Are you ready, Fort Wayne? The crowd erupted. What you want to talk about? Here's a starter. There are a lot of new superstars out there. I bet that you're all going to get some kind of champion title or something fancy like that. There was a pause. She walked around the ring, keeping constant eye contact with people. You know who doesn't deserve that title, though? She thinks she's all that, wearing that gold crown like she's some kind of queen or something. You know what? Why don't I take that lovely title belt and... A shorter woman burst through the entrance ramp that led to the ring. It was Claire Nation. She had a gold crown on her head. She wore a purple sleeveless leather jacket and black boots with silver buckles. She had light green skin and gold hair that looked like it was made of crystals. Say that again. Yes, my queen, she said sarcastically. That crown would look really good on my pretty little head. You can call me Nightshade, Queen of Nature. Claire Nation smirked. Queen of Nature? When your face hits that mat, then see who's going to be bowing to who. The crowd responded. The ref made them go to opposite sides of the ring. This match is scheduled for one fall, Hell in a Cell. Coming in at 135 pounds, she's from the Byron system, Queen of the Ring, Claire Nation. The crowd cheered as her theme played. She readied herself. And her opponent, you better be careful what you eat. You might get a little of her poison. It's Nightshade. Her theme played. She did a twirl and removed her dress. She wore a fitted bodysuit with floral patterns along the straps and bodice. She wore a chain of purple flowers around her neck. All right, the ref said. Here are the rules. To win in a Hell in a Cell, you can only do submissions or pin your opponent. Got that? The girls nodded. Before the bell rang, Claire Nation whispered something to Nightshade. Remember, make it look good. Nightshade nodded as the bell rang. The women charged into each other. There were a ton of props ringside this time. There was a jar of what looked like a ton of thumbtacks inside. What the hell, Nightshade wondered. Claire Nation elbowed her in the ribs. Nightshade tried putting Claire Nation into a headlock, but she danced out of the way. Just then, a couple of officials came to the center of the ring. They were carrying a table. They set the table up and left. This is going to be fun, Claire Nation thought. She grabbed a handful of tacks, thankful that she was wearing gloves. She sprinkled them under the table. She got another handful out and did the same with those. Nightshade was climbing up to the second rope. Claire Nation grabbed onto one of her legs. Nightshade tried her best to shake her off. When she got to the third, Claire Nation climbed up next to her. Steadying herself, she quickly grabbed Nightshade by the waist, lifting her across her shoulders. Claire Nation waited a few seconds. "What a devastating F5 right through that table," one of the commentators said. "Is this how the queen shows her power?" "You got that right," Claire Nation yelled back. For those who were watching at home, they could hear all of that. Nightshade got up, covered in tacks. Claire Nation clotheslined her to the ground, rolling onto the apron, the space between the ring and the cell. Nightshade spotted a stack of chairs. She picked one of them up and started throwing them at her. She dodged the first one. Nightshade continued her barrage. There was a pile of steel chairs in the middle of the ring. The cell door opened and a table slid through. The wrestlers sat the table up. The table was placed where the chairs were under it. Claire Nation Irish whipped her onto the second rope, tangling her arms between it and the third rope. Claire Nation climbed to the top, wrapping her legs around her head. She jumped from the top rope, performing a spin-back flip. "Hurricane Rana onto the table!" One of the commentators got really excited as the crowd went wild. Claire Nation climbed to the top rope. Bang! That's a splash right through the table. Flowers littered the ring. They were enough to create a cloud. It was done. Nightshade lay motionless on the mat. Claire Nation took no time. She went for the pin. The ref began to count, slamming his hand on the mat. 1, 2. Nightshade kicked out of the pin. She got up, grabbing Claire Nation, throwing her outside the ring. She tripped her, falling onto the second rope. Then he kicked her in the face, sending her flying into the center of the ring, jumping on her. There it is, the 619. Claire Nation hit the cell wall, the ringing of the mesh hitting the steel beams. She went under the first rope as the table was being removed. Nightshade had a stick in her hand. Oh! There was the first hit. Claire Nation tried to dodge the second one, but Nightshade was faster. Ooh! There was the second and third hits. The stick broke as she threw it aside. Claire Nation went flying into the cell, the mesh clinking against the beams. Nightshade drug her back into the ring and began climbing the row. She jumped off the third drop stomp to her ribs. Landing on her, she pinned her legs to the mat, followed by her shoulders. 1, 2. Kick out by Claire Nation. Nightshade did a little dance and came down with the people's elbow to her face. Claire Nation, lie still. The ref began to count. 1, 2, 3. The bell rang. And your winner for the opener event is Nightshade. The crowd went wild as Nightshade stood up. Turning to the crowd, she bowed. Just then, about 20 or so security guards headed to the ring. There was a man in the middle of them. He was wrapped in chains from the shoulders down. The women left the ring as they entered. The men stopped, slowly unwrapping the chains. "These chains are made of titanium. I don't think he'll be going anywhere," one of the commentators said. "If he does anything, you get him, got that?" The ref asked the lead guard. He's already in a cell." The crowd held their breath. The air went out of Fort Wayne's arena. "Is that him?" A person in the crowd whispered. "It can't be," another one said. "Is Dangerous Duncan's cousin all right?" The questions continued. "Brothers and sisters, heathens, and the depraved," the bishop began to speak. "Welcome back to WWE. It's been such a long time since I've seen your disgusting faces." No reactions. Then someone in the crowd began to chant, "You're an asshole." More began to join, "You're an asshole." Then the whole arena broke out into the same chant, "You're an asshole." The bishop was still in his prison garb. He looked like he gained about 50 pounds. Then someone started another chant, "You fat bastard! You fat bastard!" More people picked on this one and started chanting that one. "Shut up!" the Rev yelled into one of the mics as he tried to break down the door. More guards came to stop him, pushing him to the ground. He fought with them for a few minutes before giving up. Meanwhile, the crowd still chanted, drowning out anyone who dared to attempt to talk over them. Vindicator and Ray Parker stood on each side of the Reverend. He tapped the mic, ending the chant. Duncan came out next, standing on the other side of the cell. "So, the disciple of the Brotherhood returns." He paused, staring down the bishop. "I thought I put you away for good," Duncan said, disbelief on his face. "Oh, really?" He laughed at this, a long and taunting laugh. "Do you really think that a single cell is going to stop my return?" The bishop continued, "All you had to do was become a part of the Brotherhood. That's all I asked of you." Duncan shook his head. "You were never going to share that glory with anyone, were you?" The bishop looked hurt. "Duncan, brother, I am full of mercy. I gave you multiple invitations to the table. I extended my hand to you." Not how I saw it, Duncan said. I did it for the greater good, for the brotherhood. You must understand this. You know, having family members yourself. Not with an iron fist, Duncan retorted. Phoenix stood right beside Duncan. Look, the Rev pointed to her. It's his little pet. So you brought her into the WWE? Didn't you say that you didn't want your family involved in this? I said that I don't want anyone going after my family. She came on her own accord. The bishop had a wicked grin on his face. Now that I am released, I can put you and what dreams you had down for good. However, this is not the time. It would be rude of me to intrude on the next match. Isn't that right, Monty? Not knowing what to say, Monty said, Oh yes. The men dragged the bishop out of the ring, his son and followers closely behind. I want to let you all know that the disciples of the Brotherhood have returned to the WWE universe, and we're here to stay. With that, the group left the arena. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Monty continued. What a bold statement. The Brotherhood has indeed returned whether we like it or not. If you're tuning in at home, you're watching Hell in a Cell and the Rev's father is out of the slammer. Backstage, all the baby faces were clumped together, talking amongst themselves. What now? Eli Hammer asked. I heard of what happened, is it true? Phoenix nodded. Wild, he said. We should form a team or something, Zelda said. Yeah, Link said. I was there to rescue Phoenix when it happened. Thanks, Phoenix said. I'm alive because of you. Phoenix gestured to Spartan and Mankind. They came over to her. I got an idea. I see potential in both of you. Spartan stopped her. I barely got to do anything so far. Yeah? Well, from the little I saw, I liked it. Mankind nodded. I agree. How about this? What do you think about calling ourselves the Order of the Phoenix? Sounds good, Spartan said. I approve, Mankind said. Then that's a wrap, Phoenix said. Got myself a team. This is the moment, the Rev said. The Brotherhood has returned to WWE. He was backstage talking with Vindicator. If I remember right, don't you have a live coaching session with Brock Lesnar? How does that make you feel? Vindicator shrugged. There was a small crack in his ceramic mask just under the chin. All I care about is getting that rat that has been pestering me all my life. The Rev nodded knowingly. Ah, yes, let's talk about him. Before they could finish, Brock Lesnar came bursting through one of the doors. All right, you want to go? You want to go? He yanked Vindicator by his arm so hard that he knocked over a keg sitting on one of the tables. Vindicator tried fighting back, but Lesnar had a tight grip on him. Vindicator kicked one of the tables, one of the metal legs falling off and clanging to the floor. He drug him back through the doors, dragging him down the rows of people all the way to the ring. He let go of Vindicator, letting him tumble down the steel steps onto the mat. The crowd waited. What is going on? One of the commentators asked. You want me to coach you? You want me to make you better? The door shut behind them. Save yourself. This is your worst mistake. Fear flashed on Vindicator's face. This was the legendary Brock Lesnar, the Beast incarnate. Was this my worst decision? He thought as Monty began introducing them. This match is scheduled for one fall, Hell in a Cell. Brock's theme music played. And here he is, coming in at 287 pounds, the Beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. Brock ripped the shirt he was wearing, throwing it ringside, revealing his muscular physique. Even though Vindicator was about a foot taller, he made Vindicator look small. And his opponent, weighing at about 250 pounds, he is the Vindicator. The audience booed him. Good, Vindicator thought. You can hate me for all I care. I'm just here for one thing. The bell rang, the match started. Brock opened with a chop to Vindicator's chest, sending him flying into the cell wall. Vindicator got back up again, only to collide with a powerful clothesline, hitting the cell wall with such force that there was a dent in the mesh. Vindicator began to climb the wall of the cell, keeping out of reach. Vindicator could overhear some of what the commentators were saying. Vindicator is acting like a scared animal, cornered by the Beast. Has he picked the wrong fight? Lesnar proceeded to pull him off of the wall and into the ring. Vindicator is at the mercy of the Beast, one of the commentators said. Lesnar moved toward the edge of the ring. He lifting Vindicator, he slammed him into the mat, launching him up with such force that he broke through the cell, landing on top. Lesnar climbed after Vindicator. The audience started chanting, "This is awesome! This is awesome!" From the top of the cell, the people looked tiny. Vindicator looked down from where he was. Again, he attempted to slink away from Lesnar, only to get dragged back to the center of the cell. Are you gonna wrestle or what? Lesnar punched him, flattening him. Then he put Vindicator in an armbar. Vindicator attempted to resist, but Lesnar had his arm locked down. I don't want to tap out, Vindicator thought. He gritted his teeth. Then Brock stood up, Vindicator's arm still in his grip. Releasing his arm, he body slammed Vindicator. "Come on, bitch, you gonna fight me?" Vindicator tried slinking away from the beast, only to receive a piledriver. "What else is on your mind?" Vindicator tried to shrug. "It's losing, that's what." The beast stood up, putting Vindicator across his shoulders. He F5'd him right back through the hole. The massive impact heard throughout the stadium. Once in the ring, Vindicator lay on his back. He saw Lesnar on the third rope, and then a splash right onto Vindicator. "This has been a one-sided match," one of the commentators said. "Vindicator has made 0 attempts to fight back against the beast. What went through his mind when he thought he could challenge Lesnar?" "You think this is a joke to you?" Lesnar looked down at Vindicator. Vindicator had nothing to say. "Guess what, buddy? I'm not laughing." Having enough of this, Lesnar superplexed Vindicator and put him into an arm bar. Pain flickered on Vindicator's face. With his other hand, he tapped the mat. The ref's hand began to move up to strike the mat. 1, 2, 3. The bell rang. "And your winner by submission is the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar." The crowd cheered as Brock Lesnar left the ring, a look of disbelief on his face. Just then, someone's theme played. Eli Hammer stepped into the middle of the ring. "Fort Wayne." "Woo." "What time is it?" "Hammer time," the crowd responded. "Let's talk about something," he scanned the crowd. "I want to say, with the Disciples of the Brotherhood returnin', they don't sound all that impressive." He turned to Monty. "You saw all of that, right?" Monty laughed. "Saw it? If I didn't have that earpiece telling me what was going on, I would have thought Brock Lesnar brought a punching bag to the ring." The crowd laughed. "I know you're listening, Rev, but Vindicator didn't look so tough now, did he? If you're as good as you used to be 3 years ago, you gotta do better than him. I feel bad for you, Lesnar, taking that pathetic excuse of a man under your wing." Lesnar came out and took one of the mics. "You better watch what you say, Hammer, because I can't protect you from them. If I would have known he was such a waste of my time, I would have had to waste Fort Wayne's time. But you seem to have enjoyed that match." The audience cheered. The Rev looked at Hammer and Lesnar with smoldering eyes. Hammer spotted him. "Speak of the devil, there he is, thinking he owns the place, telling people to spread his word. Well, you know what? I'll spread the word right here, right now." The crowd cheered. "The Brotherhood is a complete joke. Sure, your father ran things differently, but so far you're not looking too good." The Rev stared him down. "We're not at full strength yet. We acquire one more item." "And what is that?" The Rev scoffed. "Beats me, we can't find it yet." The Rev leaned in close. "It's an old relic passed down by generations of Samoan wrestlers. It even made its way to Roman Reigns himself. If the stories are true, whoever wears it will allow you to have instant control over their mind. For your sake, brother, let's hope that's just a legend." With that, he exited the ring, leaving more questions and confused onlookers. "That cell is a terrible background for my next painting," Animator said as she looked over at the cans of paint. "Why is that?" Iron Maiden asked. "It's so boring, so gray, devoid of any color." "Couldn't you just paint the cell?" "That would take too long to do. However, I could paint the scene for your next match. You seem to be wearing a little more red today," Animator said. Iron Maiden had red war paint on her face. She nodded, donning a black cloak over the top of her muscular physique. "After all, these events are a way to show the audience the true nature of human beings." "What are you talking about?" "The art of winning. It may bring out the best in people, or bring out the worst." With her finger, she drew the outline of a skull with a single eye in the middle. "What is that?" Iron Maiden looked uncomfortable. "The Brotherhood is watching us," Animator hissed, staring straight into her eyes. "They are angry." Animator began to laugh uncontrollably. Then she went into some kind of trance. "The streak of gold won't survive in hell. Her fire extinguished before she leaves the cell. Say goodnight to the dangerous one. By the end of the night, the Brotherhood has won." Creeped out by this, Iron Maiden moved as far away from her as she could. Animator didn't even notice. "You know what was so special about the beads of the tribal chief's necklace?" Animator called after her. Iron Maiden stopped. Not sure whether to answer, she stood there. "They contain a mystical power said to control the minds of whoever the wearer desires." "And how do they obtain this power?" Iron Maiden asked. Animator was still in the trance. "I already told you. 2 days shall pass. The one with the sword stands his last, fighting the one who preaches to the mass." Animator stared directly into Iron Maiden's soul, smoke curling around her like an oracle. "The immortal one shall speak no more, for the beads of power start a war." "I have no idea what you smoked before you came here, but stop staring into my eyes." Animator didn't notice that she was talking to her. This day just keeps getting weirder, Iron Maiden thought. Back in the ring, the crowd waited. Just then, someone's theme music played. No way! The ref was speechless. Is that Roman Reigns? He had long hair down to his shoulders, tattoos on his chest and back, long pants and boots. He had his finger pointed to the sky. As he made his way down to the ring, people cheered and booed as the pyrotechnics went off. Fort Wayne, Indiana! Acknowledge me, the crowd cheered. So, there was a pause. What's this, huh? He pointed to the Reverend. He looked like he had just met his favorite characters. Roman, I am your biggest... I don't have time for that. Let's talk about something. There was another pause. What's this I've been hearing about me not being the tribal chief? There was a longer pause, the Rev thinking of a reply. Whoever started that needs to know that not rumors are true. You got that? Even though I don't have the tribal beads doesn't mean that I stopped being the tribal chief. Even though I lost the undisputed title doesn't mean I stopped being the tribal chief. My tribal chief, the Rev stuttered. You do not have the right to call me that, Roman said. Roman Reigns, I want to honor your legacy, I really do. How? I can bring back the Brotherhood. What does that have to do with me? Rev stood to face him. I seek an audience with the special counsel. Before anyone could do anything, Mankind came out of nowhere. You still think that you are still the tribal chief? There was a pause as Mankind took center stage. She had a white and gold leather jacket. How delusional do you have to be to think that you are still the tribal chief? She stared Roman in the eyes. The day you lost to Link was the day you lost your title and the head of the table. Oh, the crowd went crazy. What was the phrase you liked to say? Oh yeah, the sea of obscurity is where you'll end up. The crowd went crazy. And the rest of us at least most of us are currently out here on the island of relevance. What makes you think that? Roman asked. Well, Mankind said, as an individual who represents all of mankind, I have the right to ask the audience what they think, yeah? The arena erupted. So, who is the current tribal chief? Chants of Link filled the arena. You see? Who are you to decide who wins and who doesn't? Roman was starting to get impatient. Mankind was calm and collected. I decide nothing. It's just the fact that you come back here 10 years later and decide that you never lost that title in the first place. Who's out of touch now? The audience reacted. Just then, someone's theme music played. Link came out, making his way through the crowd. He faced Roman. I never thought I would see your face here again. Oh, what a sight to behold. There was a pause. So how does it feel to be back on Earth with us? You lost your undisputed title and you lost the tribal chief position all in one day. I demand. Link cut him off. Come on, Roman, gotta stop living in the past. Everyone moved on with their lives. Empires rise and fall, it's the way history happens. It was bound to happen. You had your time, and now your reign has come to an end. Roman thought for a bit. Then he got into a middle stance. He put his arms to his sides, sweeping them towards each other. He charged Link with the spear. The crowd went wild. Link grabbed Roman, putting him into a headlock. Then he did a sideways cartwheel, letting him go. That move was called the Crossroads. The crowd went wild again. No one noticed as Ray Parker slipped away and into Link's locker room. The cameras followed him in as he started digging through his stuff. He found what he wanted as he held it up. The red beads seemed to glow in the light. Back out in the arena, it was total chaos. The Bishop and Dangerous Duncan were having an all-out brawl. The fight has left the cell and is making its way through the audience, Monty said. The Bishop, now free of his chains, threw jabs at Duncan. The fight carried on until it reached the announcer's table. Duncan picked the Bishop up, suplexing him right through it. The Bishop got up, attempting to pin Duncan. They exchanged kicks back and forth, the crowd reacting to each impact. Putting his hands behind his head, Duncan went behind him, tripping him and sending him forward. Skull Crusher finale! One of the commentators yelled as the crowd went wild. Something shiny on the Rev's hand caught his eye. They were brass knuckles. The Rev hit him in the ribs with the, knocking him to the ground. The ref was trying to get the men into the cell. After dragging Duncan into the cell, the door closed behind them. Duncan wasn't going to move anytime soon. The Rev put him in the pin position. 1, 2, 3! The fans booed before Monty could announce the winner. And your winner for tonight's main event is the Bishop. The cameras cut backstage to Vindicator and Ray Parker. So this Brotherhood, Ray said. Is it worth it? Vindicator nodded. As long as Rev gets me what I want, that's all I care for. Ray looked unconvinced. You ever thought that you might get kicked out? I look at you, dog. You got no wins and you let the legendary Brock Lesnar get up all in your business. Vindicator nodded. How does that make you feel? Ray asked. Don't know, I choked out there. Really? Ray asked. Not what I saw. You know what I saw? I saw a scared little boy trying to run away from the beast. That's what I saw. You know what I think? I think the Rev should kick you out. The Rev came into the room. Who should I kick out? The Rev asked. This guy right here. Ray pointed to Vindicator. Oh yeah, the Rev said. I don't think that will be necessary. Ray, were you able to find those? It took Ray a minute to realize what the Rev was talking about. Oh yeah, I got him right here. How about we give Monday Night Raw a little something that they won't forget?